inside. Oh, a holy crime. But how can I hide you without a name?
Okay, and we are live. Since for the most of this, I did not set up any fancy graphics or anything like that, I am just going to leave some old tournament footage running in the background so I can talk, and it makes it, slightly more interesting than just hearing me talk with nothing on screen. Okay, right. So today I am going to be talking about how to improve your mental, understanding your mental. We're going to be talking about some sports psychology, why you get angry, why you're anxious, what ranked anxiety is, how being upset or anxious or emotional or just generally having bad mental impacts your gameplay and why it's important. Okay, cool. So let us start from the very beginning, which is in making it clear and understood that improving your aim and your game knowledge and your game sense and your strategy and your movement and your lineups and all of that, watching pro VOD, watching, I don't know, guides, anything like that, is just as important as maintaining your mental. And by mental, I mean, not having unhelpful thought patterns, not letting your emotional state negatively impact your performance. So if you played Valorant, you probably know what I'm talking about, everyone gets frustrated at games. So when I am talking about mental, I'm talking about it and thinking of it as a skill, right? This is a fairly common idea in the field of sports psychology. They say that it's a skill. It's something that you have to learn. I really recommend the book The Inner Game of Tennis, if this is of interest to you. If not, don't worry about it. There's probably summaries online and stuff. So everyone recommends this book to you recently. You could read it. There are summaries. Basically, The Inner Game of Tennis talks about the mental skills required to play at like a championship level, right? But just making it clear that this is a skill, and it's a skill that is often neglected by people who are trying to climb. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about understanding your own mentality. And we're going to use the word tilt. Some people have their own special definitions of tilt, where it's when they get angry and they differentiate it with molding or just a bit annoyed and all of these things. But tilt is a technical term. It is a poker term. It originally came from pinball, but it became popularized in poker. And managing tilting your opponents, playing well when you're tilted, is a huge part of high-level competitive poker. And it is the term for a state of mental or emotional confusion or frustration, in which a player adopts a less than optimal strategy, usually resulting in the player becoming overly aggressive or overly passive in their play. This was applied to other games in later years. Since we're talking about mental, there might be a couple of heavy topics, right? Because when we're trying to unpick why do we get upset? Why do I care so much about this video game? Why am I so afraid that someone is going to say something mean to me in a video game? That can get a little bit heavy, you know. It's upsetting. It's difficult. Just as a heads up. So, in social psychology, they describe System 1 versus System 2 thinking, which is your emotional and your rational thinking. So it's important to understand this because System 1 always happens first, right? This is your emotional brain. This is your intuition. This is how you feel about a situation. It's what keeps you safe. It's what helps you identify bad situations. System 2 is your rational brain, where you're thinking through your problems, tell you things logically or trying to be rational. But it works with the information given to it by System 1. So let's say you see someone, right? And you get bad vibes, right? That's System 1 going, hey, we don't like this person. Like, I don't know, like the vibes are rancid, right? And then your logical brain kicks in and starts saying, well, you know, there's this, and then there's this reason, and then there's this reason. But really, it's just working off the basic thing. So recognizing that we can't be rational through emotions, and our rationality comes through our emotional state. And I wrote my master's thesis on this, and I'm actually going to be writing my PhD on the topic. So I am perhaps uniquely qualified to talk about emotions and decisions in games because that's my area of academic study. But yes, so while people can say, you know, just like don't be upset, it doesn't matter. Like it's just a game. Like you know this, right? Like you know it's just a game. You know it doesn't matter. Does that mean you're not upset? No. Like you're still upset. It happens. And learning how to manage those skills, learning the habits and the conscious framing of your thoughts is really useful. So correcting yourself, for example, like being like, I don't know, someone give me an example of something irrational you think during a game, like in Twitch chat, like, I don't know, you know, oh, why didn't they trade me or something when you didn't actually say you were going to peek? Like, I'm not going to hit any shot today. There we go, right? That's an irrational thing you can think. Going to go into a game and you're thinking, I'm not going to hit any shots. I'm going to do badly, right? Reframing this in your mind, like correcting yourself, catching yourself when you're thinking these bad habits is like, it's a habit, right? It's people who've recovered from, you know, depression, some self-destructive tendencies, even addiction, will find themselves falling down these old pathways, these very familiar pathways. Thoughts and patterns of thought, you can think of them like almost like a path, right? So the more you walk on it, like the more, like, the deeper and more worn out and the more grooved in it gets, and the harder it is to deviate from that path. Like water, you know? And so by consciously correcting yourself, it gets a little bit easier. So you can say things like, so you're queuing for a game and you're like, maybe you're even like in pistol range, like, I'm not going to land any shots. Sure, like, you might hit some shots, you might not, but reframing that to something like, you know, if I don't hit my shots, I'm going to figure out why. Or like, it's okay not to hit my shots, I'm going to play near my team. Or rather than just taking it as this sort of hopeless comment, right? Being like, you know, we've lost this game, I can't do anything. Instead, perhaps trying to reframe it as an opportunity. You see this kind of thinking a lot with like the body positivity movement, where like you got to try and catch yourself, right? When you think something bad about yourself, like, I don't know, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, I'm so ugly, I'm terrible, my nose is the size of Mars or something. Catching yourself and being like, no, it's just a nose. Like, you don't have to think that, like, reframing it to be neutral is way easier than reframing it to be positive. And the same is true in games. Especially, like, I know someone when they play their games, they're trying to strategize, they're trying to think, and sometimes they're just like, no, it's the enemy. The enemy is just, they're going to do something stupid. I can't do anything. It's like, okay. So what you're saying is, I can't read their play. I can't think of a counterplay. And that's okay, because then you're putting the focus on something that you can do rather than the enemy. And this is a huge one when it comes to these mental skills. Reminding yourself to focus on what is within your control. I like that emoji. Super cute emote. When you learn any game, when you go through your life, when you do anything competitive, when you're learning a skill, when you're playing Valorant, you're playing, I don't know, League of Legends, playing chess, anything, you always want to be thinking to yourself, what variables are within my control? And is it helpful to me to be getting upset over variables that are not in my control? For those of you joining later, this is just random tournament footage while I speak. So we're always thinking about what variables we can control. This can lead to another problem. Do tell me. But yes, we're always thinking, right, you've seen people say, you always lose 30% of games no matter what, so I won't even try. Again, that is a bad reframing. The game's not winnable, so why are you here? Like, statistically, you're going to lose 50% of your game, right? Obviously, we always want to win, but it's how we deal with our losses that define us. We always want to win, but you will lose. You will lose. You will miss your shots. You will have a bad game, bad rounds. You'll go on a loss streak. You'll derank. You will also hit shots. You'll win games. You'll have a great time. You'll hit some shots that make it look like you're cheating. You're gonna have some amazing combos with your friends. And in the games where you sometimes you just have to accept, hey, this game, like, we're not winning this game. So you go, okay, that's fine. What am I going to do? Like, how can I make this still worth my while? What am I learning from this? Maybe I can clip a round or two, watch it back later. Taking that control, like, we're taking back control there because we go, okay, we can't win the game, so we need to adjust our expectations and our goals. So this was actually going to go into my next point, where I was going to talk about expectations. The anger management specialist, Dr. Ryan Martin, who wrote the book Why We Get Mad, which is surprisingly good actually, talks a lot about our expectations and how that can lead to anger, but also anxiety. It can lead to negative emotions, is what I mean. And we need to keep our expectations realistic, and you'll see this in real life as well a lot. People getting mad when their expectations are just simply not realistic, and then those unrealistic expectations are not met because, of course not. So, an example of these unrealistic expectations might be, I will never miss an easy shot. I will never make a mistake. My teammates will get kills. I'll be performing at my best the entire time. I'll perform as well this game as I did last game. My teammates will listen to comms. My teammates will comm. Every game is winnable. My teammates are never going to make mistakes. These are all unrealistic expectations that a lot of people hold. without realizing that they held them. If you find yourself getting tilted, upset, anxious, you just got to think, was that actually realistic? I see a lot of people say that it gets a lot easier to get over things like ranked anxiety when you adjust those expectations. Where you think to yourself, I am going to lose games. Like, we're going to have like solo queue stuff, you know? Like, if I'm going to solo queue, we're going to have solo queue stuff where my teammates, sometimes they're going to be toxic. Sometimes they're just going to throw Phoenix Molly on me. You know, sometimes people are going to be toxic. Yeah, sure. Feel free to ask questions. But yeah, sometimes people will get sometimes people will be toxic. And I think coming to terms with these expectations and adjusting them. Hi, Martha. And adjusting them really helps. Because it means that when it happens, you're kind of emotionally prepared for it, you know? And this is another huge part of being okay with it. That was a ridiculous spray transfer. This tournament footage is about 4 months old, I think. The rosters have all changed now, so it doesn't matter. Having no expectations, that's getting a little bit philosophical, because it has been said, particularly by the Buddhists, that expectations are the root of all suffering. Now, make of that what you will. I'm not here to preach theology at you, but having no expectations, I think, also doesn't help. I think expecting people to be human, right? Are we going to expect, I don't know, this player who we're watching here hit her next shot? On to the next person. Don't know. But we can expect them to do their best. They might miss, they might not. I'm not saying have low expectations. I'm saying have realistic expectations. And again, this goes back to framing. So if you think missing your shots means your value is low, like if performing badly in Valorant is leading to low self-value, no expectations can lead to not trusting people. Yeah. I think don't expect people to do better than they're realistically going to do, you know? Same for yourself. Could this player have hit that shot? Maybe. Could have killed one of them on a good day. Didn't. It's fine. You know? Right? Feels very safe not to trust people in trust pub comes in ranked. Yeah, exactly, right? Having that expectation, not to say don't trust it, saying that you're going could be good, could be bad, rather than, oh no, what if it is bad? You're going, it could be good and it could be bad. So you're not shying away from that expectation. You're not afraid of it. You go, yeah, it could be either. And if it sucks, I'm going to mute them. And just dealing with that in advance, you know? The self-worth thing is pretty... It's a pretty good point that someone made in chat. Because, and here's where it's going to get a little bit personal, right? If you are tuning in to a 1-hour stream about someone talking about how to get good at Valorant, about how to improve your mental, you care about the game, right? You want to get good. You're investing your time and your effort into this game. So this can get a little bit personal here. But think about why you play Valorant or any video game. Like, why do you want to get good? Why is it important to you that you've hit a particular rank? Or play well? For a lot of people, they pin their self-worth and their value as a person and a player on their performance in a video game. Performing well is how they feel they're a good person who's worth having around and people will want to hang out with you. Losing means you're trash. Oh, is that a ban? That is a ban. Anyway, yes. So a lot of people will pin their worth on it. Yeah, you just want to play for fun with your friends. And a lot of people can have that. And then sometimes there's people who just want to have fun and play with their friends. What if you play really badly? What if you start thinking that your friends aren't going to want you around if you play badly? It can be pretty rough. So recognizing when you're putting too much of yourself into the game is important, and consciously reframing it. This is what a really good book called The Courage to be Disliked, which I recommend. Talks about good. Those sound reasonably healthy. It can be about reframing your thoughts. If you feel like garbage human because you lost your rank up game, or like you just threw a game by accident and it was your friend's rank up game to like Immortal or something, and it can feel bad. But again, catching yourself, that conscious reframing. And keeping those expectations is important because it feels great to just outplay the enemy and tap them. Like stomp them and carry your team, and it feels great. Just detach it from who you are as a person. It's really tough. You can feel that since you don't expect them to. They usually expect you to carry, so you don't want to let them down. Yeah, right? Like, there's going to be that anxiety. There's going to be these, like, social considerations. Like, yeah, I'll go into that in a second. Another really big factor, and just these negative feelings could be frustration or anger, is if you feel like your goal is being blocked. Such as by your teammates being bad, or maybe you just like your mechanical skills holding you back, or something like that. And then adjusting your goal to something realistic in these situations can really help. So going, okay, I'm going into the game, obviously my goal is to win. And maybe you realize, okay, like we actually might not win this game. You know, we're like down 7 rounds and we're only 8 rounds in. This is like we're 1-7. This is not good. So maybe your goal becomes not to win, but to have a positive KD. Maybe it's match MVP. Maybe it's focusing on specific aspects of your performance or even your process. And this brings me to the next thing that I think is super important. And I wish I could have made a really pretty graphic for you, as I often do, but I didn't. So here we are. Sorry, I'm putting this over the gameplay. Okay. This is just one I found online. This is about goals, setting goals, getting goals. It's not the important bit here right now. What I want to talk about is this separation between process, performance, and outcome. And these are 3 different things. And thinking of them as 3 different things is important, because your outcome would be things like, did I get that kill? Did I win the game? Did I clutch that round? Then performance is, how did I perform during this? Did I have good crosshair placement? Did I get kills? Did I, at the very least, stay with my team? Did I try and trade them? Did I do what I want to do, right? Did I, like, maybe your goal is disengage a bit more, right? Like, maybe you just don't play near cover enough. Maybe you're out in the open all the time. Maybe your performance is, the performance thing that you're actually looking at here is, did I disengage from fights? Yeah, I did. Great. So it doesn't matter if you won or not because your focus is on the performance goals. And then when that improves, outcome naturally follows eventually. And then the one down from this, which feeds into all of the above, is your process. This is one that often is overlooked. Your process is, how do we get performance? Like, what am I doing to gain that skill and to build and to maintain that skill? It could be, maybe you are always working on something. Maybe you're entering every single game with a focus, that, like, a weakness that you have that you're going to work on. Maybe you're going to go into the game and say, hey, this game, I'm going to try and crouch a bit less. Or this game, I'm going to be paying attention to what space the enemy isn't in and then punishing it. This game, I'm going to work on my crosshair placement. This game, I'm going to try and crossfire a bit more with my team. And having that, so focusing on these process goals can be things like, I am going to play enough of the game to actually improve. That's a great process. People often ignore this, but it feeds into performance and that feeds into outcome. And if you only ever focus on your outcome, or sometimes even just just one aspect of your performance, then you're missing part of the bigger picture if you really want to improve. And this doesn't just apply to Valorant. This applies to so many things. You had the expectation to play 2 comp games, but that was unrealistic. Okay. So you can set yourself, that's okay. You can set yourself a goal of maybe make it something a little bit more realistic. So what, 2 comp games a day, that's 14 a week. What if you say, I'm going to play 9 games a week? And then that could be your goal. And if you can't do it, you adjust it. And it's okay, There's no moral judgment. There's no... Yeah, like, there's no judgment on any of that. It's a game. We are playing a video game. We're just running around with our little pixels and shooting some people. It's chill. When we're playing with friends, it can get quite difficult. Because without going into too much detail on it, humans are social creatures. Children will do pretty much anything to avoid social exclusion. That's why timeouts are effective and damaging. Babies, before they're even born, will follow 3 dots that are 2 on the top and 1 at the bottom, over other shapes of 3 dots, because that is closest to what a human face looks like. They have never seen a person yet, but we are hardwired from the very beginning to look for people and to connect with them. And, like, solitary confinement is a form of torture. It's really bad. And so it makes complete sense that people would get so anxious and so afraid of playing a team game against other humans, maybe with their friends. Because if the criteria for staying within the group, for remaining as part of your social structure or whatever, is to perform well enough in the game, to meet this like bare minimum, right? Then that can cause some anxiety if you are playing badly. Maybe you played badly last game, and then you play the next game and you're like, oh, what if I do really badly? And then that makes you play worse because you're all caught up in your head and you're not actually paying attention to the game. And you're overthinking it. And we can get in our own way sometimes when we overthink things. For some people, performance in the video game is necessary for social success. So everything I've said about goals, expectations, self-worth are often driven by social considerations. It's often a subconscious process. Often we don't realize. It can be people can feel very humiliated. They can get some anxiety, and even just knowing about this process, even knowing that this mechanism is causing your anxiety, means you can address it. Because if you going, oh no, why do I get so afraid? Why am I so afraid that these strangers will talk to me? Maybe it's because it's confirming something in yourself that says you should be outside, you know? Which sucks. When I wrote my master's thesis, the results that I got were that cooperation and trust can achieve better than rational results. Rational results being, mathematically modeling what could be the best result. But then if you just cooperate, you can actually do better than that, because the mathematical model is assuming that everyone's going to be selfish and out for their own worth. These are some really cute, writing emotes. So, the final thing on that topic for social considerations and, our expectations and our goals and reframing things and our self-worth and all of that is, do not play with people who are bad for your mental health. We are 90% the people we spend time around. There's a reason why people say, if you want to get rich, then spend time with rich people, because you'll learn how they think. I'm going to pick on you here, Markin, because you said this in a public chat. You said, that explains why no one wants to play with me. Taking this as a sad, sad statement, I don't think that framing of a situation helps you. Framing it perhaps as, I would like to make the people I play with feel better. All right, saying, I will maybe see it as an opportunity to improve how you talk to yourself publicly around people, talk about yourself around people. Because, in all honesty, if you're playing a game with someone and all they're saying is, oh, I'm so bad at the game, I miss my shots, I should just quit, everything's terrible, I hate this game sucks, I hate Raina, why did she shoot me? All of that, someone says you're so good, and then, you can say to someone like that, oh, you're really good, and they go, no, I'm not, I'm terrible, I'm the worst. And it's like, well, I mean, that's not very enjoyable, That's not helping you. That's not helping me. I hate Runa too. Like, if we are 90% the people we spend time around, and like, I don't know if that's what you do, Market. I don't know. But like, you know, if like playing with someone who does those things, for example, it's not going to make you feel good. And it's going to make you maybe say the same things about yourself. So if you play with people who rage at the game a lot, who get very upset, who talk badly about themselves, all those things, maybe try to either help them, or if they're not going to improve and you notice that it's just ruining your enjoyment, it's actually making you quite sad. Maybe it's making you more anxious to play with them because you're thinking, hey, I have to perform better because they're feeling bad about themselves. It's a lot of work. It's going to be very difficult. So one of the things you can do to improve your mental is play with people who are also trying to improve their mental. You know, we all improve together. My mental is pretty good. Yeah, a lot of people hold themselves to an unrealistic standard. It's an unrealistic expectation where they get angry at themselves for making mistakes. I actually know quite a lot of people who do this. I see a lot of people who do this. They hold themselves to a very high standard. They get upset with themselves when they miss a shot, and then they get all in their head about it. And now, whether you are, I don't know, perhaps parroting how people spoke to you, maybe how you think about yourself, why is it so important that you don't make a mistake? Is a question that is very worth asking yourself. What happens if you do make mistakes? What does that mean? Because a mistake in itself means nothing. It is not a moral statement. It's just a thing. It's just a mistake. It just exists. I make dozens of mistakes every single game. Like, how many times have you been wrong about something in your life? Or done something incorrectly? Or, you know, made a mistake. Maybe you tried to, like, I don't know, run, right? How many times do you, like, I don't know, miss something, don't notice something, bump into someone, lose your phone, play a game, don't notice that you're playing against Reyna and then she uses her flash. Don't notice that Chamber has his ultimate and then he opts you. How often do you peek it and accidentally overswing? And you don't, maybe you don't get punched for it, but you do it. Maybe your crosshair placement is bad. Maybe you don't notice that Sky, you're playing against Sky and she's about to flash you and you're not ready to turn it, like we just saw. These players, they're winning this game. This is a tournament level game. This is the Contenders Legion Athena series, where I think we had some of the we had some of the top EU female teams playing. Not G2. But there are a couple of others that were there. And like this team, like, yeah, like we're playing quite a high standard. And like they're making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and mistakes are how we win, how we learn. There are studies, and I can probably get them for you. I have them somewhere. They got a set of students I think. They got the control group and the experiment group, and they basically had them do a bunch of meaningless tasks. Basically, and it's a bunch of just like administrative stuff, right? So it was, doing like data entry and file this in this form, and if this happens, then do this, and it was complicated enough that you could screw up if you weren't paying attention, and like you would definitely make mistakes, but it's possible. They had two groups. The first group, they were given instructions such as mistakes will be counted. Do not make any mistakes. This is the standard. This is how people hold. This is kind of what people hold themselves to. The other group, they said, mistakes are a part of learning. You'll make mistakes, and that's okay. Just do your best and learn from them, and you'll improve the task. It'll be fine. Like, it's all part of the process. Don't worry about it. The results were that the people who felt more free to make mistakes improved at the task faster, performed better at the task overall, like they got more done, were generally happier, and also made fewer mistakes, amazingly. Being told it was okay to make mistakes made them make less mistakes. And it's because it's all just part of the process. It's all part of the learning process. You can't really improve without making mistakes. So what? So if you're attaching, right, every mistake is a learning opportunity. If you let it. Like, I'm going to pick on these players a bit because I can. And I know them. And okay, we're going to spot a mistake. Never mind, no, we're not. I think this is the end of the game. Yeah, I think they win with lineups. Okay, maybe I'm not going to do that, but making mistakes is a learning opportunity. And framing them that way will really help you. Okay, so it is also... where am I watching the tournament? This is an old tournament from the Vixie Game Changers team that I coach. This is from the Contenders Legion Athena series about 4 months ago. I just have it on because I'm talking a lot and it gives people something to watch. So another thing to think about when you're watching these... I miss Chamber, yeah. This was when Chamber was still meta. But yeah, so it's important to think about what's going on in your life, because if you're finding yourself getting angry at the video game, you're getting stressed about the video game, you're getting afraid of the video game, sometimes it can just be that your life sucks. It could be that you have a lot of things going on in your mind that you need to think about. It could just be that there's emotions that you're just not processing. Like, maybe your job sucks. Maybe you're having relationship problems. Maybe you've just messed up your sleep cycle and it's causing you some issues. and you're kind of frustrated about that, but you're not really dealing with it. Then you go play a game and your teammate, like, I don't know, does a bad smoke. And oh, look, an opportunity for all those emotions to come out. Hopefully you can see what I mean with that. So this is another thing. This goes into the emotional coping skills I talked about, these mental skills. It's being aware of what is actually the cause. Because if you can recognize, okay, like, I know I'm annoyed at this person, but realistically, I shouldn't be. It's not within my control. I can't control my team's mouse and keyboard. I can't, like, it's unrealistic to expect them to never make mistakes. But I'm still really angry. Oh, it's because I just had a really bad day. And then that's actually going to make you feel a lot better at the game because you're not trying to justify your strong emotions. Okay. In biology, human biology, we learn this at school, but some people are young watching this. So there's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is your go state of being. It's alert, it's interested. It's looking around it, it's doing things, it's active. The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and repair. It's your heart rate slows, your breathing slows. Your mind and body can repair any damage. This is where skill development occurs. This is why meditation is good for you. This is why yoga is good for you. This is why mindfulness is useful. This is why you need to sleep. I'm talking to you gamers. Go to sleep. It's important. Please stop staying up until 6 in the morning. And in our daily lives, there is no limit for how many things you should be doing. You have never done enough. Like, you're done with work, you're done with school, but why aren't you studying? Why are you not doing your housework? Why are you not developing skills? Why are you not developing a side hustle? Have you cleaned your bathroom? When did you last clean the walls, you know? Your room's a mess. What are you doing? There's some dishes. You've got to do some laundry. Like, there is always something to do. And it can be really easy to just be stressed. And when you're stressed, you're engaging the sympathetic nervous system. It's alert, it's go, it's ready. And if you never leave that, or you don't leave that often enough, it can do some damage and it's gonna make you really stressed. If you sit down and you play Valorant and you haven't switched off all day, you might not actually play very well. For the same reason that caffeine does not actually boost your performance. I'm sorry, I can link a source for that, but I'm sorry, it actually makes you play worse. Especially in the long run. So, this is why it's useful. If you're upset, stressed, bad day, your teammate just accidentally hit you with a raise grenade. Breathe, take your hands off the keyboard. Disconnect, it's okay. Taking a few deep breaths is what... Yeah, don't overwork yourself game-wise, as Samadis in chat says. It's because there's mental tiredness, you know. This is going to come more into performance and less like mental skills, but yeah. It's strenuous. Esports is a sport. It's actually quite hard on you. And you can exhaust yourself mentally. But taking a break, drinking plenty of water, making sure you're sleeping, eating, exercising has a really good effect on the body and the brain and your ability to perform in video games. Which seems unfair, given that people who play video games tend to be shut-ins. just, it's okay to stop doing. So, what are the takeaways from all of this? Improving your mental is a skill. Dealing with these emotions, being aware of what's going on in your mind is a skill. And learning how to deal with that is difficult, and it takes time and effort to learn how to do and improve it. And if you find that you're always tilted, always upset, it could be because you are just not dealing with things in your life. It could be because you're afraid of being excluded from the group. It could be that you're holding yourself to an unrealistic standard, or others to an unrealistic standard. You don't know if this happens to someone, but sometimes when you play Valorant, you suddenly can't shoot an aim and get ahead and shoot the head and just keep dying, and you don't know why this happens. I actually have a previous video on this, which is the secrets to consistency. It can actually often be that you stopped aiming and you're just shooting. If you are being inconsistent, you need to focus on your fundamentals. So actually aim, don't overpeak, pay attention to what's going on in front of you, relax. If you die early in a round, just take a few breaths. Remember, just let go of any old expectations, for example. Maybe you were doing really well in a game and then suddenly the economy changes and it's a lot harder because they have guns and you don't. That was a disgusting 4K. Coffee is good when you feel bored. Have you considered perhaps on an entirely unrelated note to coffee, did you know that stimulants such as caffeine tend to help with focus if you have a particular neurodivergence thing? Usually in ADHD can occur in some other kinds of neurodivergence, like chemically process things differently. Personally, coffee makes me sleepy because I have ADHD. I'm gonna post a YouTube video about caffeine. Light walk. Boom. There you go. Video about caffeine. Okay. Right. I should probably draw this to a close. Does anyone have any questions on improving your mental? Any issues? Any fear? I think it should also be noted that if you maybe have some bad experiences in your life, maybe you got shouted at a lot, you're probably going to be more anxious that your teammates are going to shout at you. And that's just a trauma thing, unfortunately. Just got to work through it. Okay, books I would recommend if you are interested in these topics. I could type these actually. I recommend Why We Get Mad by Dr. Ryan Martin. I recommend Cleaning Up Your Mess by Your Mental Mess by Carolyn Leaf. I recommend The Tao of Pooh. Mental Game of Poker 2 is a good book about mental. I don't know. I don't know that one. I recommend the EMEA Game of Tennis is another good one. The Courage to Be Disliked is another good one. Lots of things. Okay, well, this is drawing to the end of this Galorants Learning Program thing. I'll be uploading a backup of this to my personal YouTube. It will be in the Twitch VODs for a while. I also might edit some of these down just for content. I wish you all the very best of luck in your games. I hope you begin to develop or begin to improve these skills. Self-plug, I am a Valorant coach. Look me up on socials. Or in the Galorants server. And I will see you in 2 weeks when I run my next lesson, which I haven't decided the topic on. Yeah. Haven't decided the topic, but there's quite a lot. All right. Goodbye.